What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the channel. Always happy to see you guys here. And welcome to my review of Mission Impossible. Released in 1996, the film revolves around Ethan Hunt, an IMF agent who is framed for murder after his team is ambushed on a mission gone wrong. This forces Ethan into going into hiding while trying to discover who the mole is and uncovering the truth behind a conspiracy. So with the release of Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning, I thought I'd take this opportunity to do a film review series of all 7, including the new film, followed by a ranking. Now, this isn't the first time that I've talked about these. Actually, back when I started this channel, this was actually the first of many reviews that I've done back when I started this channel in 2018. So I thought it was high time that I go over my highs and lows over these again in prep for the new film. Now, these will not be done in time, for I've got another film review series that I'm planning as well simultaneously, so bear with me. But this will not be done in time of the new film's release. So as many of you may or may not know, Mission Impossible is actually based off of a 1960s show. It's something I've never seen, something I've never experienced, but I've been intending to. But I was introduced to the film series by my brother way back when the second film had come out back in 2000. God, I'm getting old. But as far as Mission Impossible 1 goes, yeah. The film is a major departure of the rest of them. As everybody knows, when the sequels came out, they became more action eccentric, kind of like how Fast and Furious did after Tokyo Drift, the third film in that series. Mission Impossible did get more action eccentric, bigger world building and bigger storylines, which kind of makes Mission Impossible 1 sort of the redheaded stepchild twice removed. But it still had its moments. Starting off the positives for Mission Impossible, I do gotta say the espionage stuff in this was actually done pretty well. Unlike in the Amateur, which I know I said that they covered way too much in the espionage stuff in that, but the difference between that and this is that the Amateur didn't really know what the hell it was. Because of that, the pacing just felt off. This, it knew what it was, and because of that, the story and the narrative was a little more interesting than that other film. See, that other film, The Amateur, it came off as a revenge type story, which made the pacing a little bit surprising to most, especially to me. With Mission Impossible, it actually made sense. But this film did have some thrill tense scenes, like with the whole mission gone wrong scene in the first act. I thought that was written really well. It was very tense. Just the way they've written it and just the way it was acted was actually well worth it. It was pretty cool, and it had some heart-pounding moments. I guess you could say a little bit of, like, I wouldn't say horror eccentric moments, but close, because you couldn't figure out what the hell was going on. And you couldn't figure out why these people were dying off. You knew something was going on. You knew that this team was being betrayed somehow, but just that whole mystery of it, I really did enjoy. Then you have the whole diner scene with Kittredge and Ethan, once Ethan discovers that it was all a setup just so this other guy could get to this mole. And just that scene alone was just so tense, just the way it was written. Like, this whole film is written in a way to where, yeah, it's definitely separate from the others, but it still shines because of those moments. And not to say that it had some action. It had some action, but very little. Like in that diner scene, to where Ethan grabs this gum that's actually a bomb, puts it on the fish tank, and explodes the whole entire thing. And as it's exploding, you can see him running and planning his escape as the water is following him. I thought that was pretty cool. Just those slow motion captures. And not to mention Danny Elfman's score, which really helped matters even further. It acted like the scoring was in Ethan's mind when he was discovering that he's been set up and that he's being framed. In Ethan's mind and Tom Cruise's mind, it's like you could see all of that because of the scoring itself, and I thought that was done pretty well. And then you have the whole mystery angle, which I kind of touched on that just like a split second earlier, to where he tries to find what went wrong, to where Ethan tries to find who this person is that betrayed him, and just the whole mystery behind all of this was actually pretty intriguing. especially from a narrative standpoint. Who's trying to frame him and why, and just that whole mystery side of it was actually pretty intriguing. As I said before, this one is very story driven, which again, it makes this stand out so much from the others because of that. But it's done in such a way where it's entertaining enough. It grabs you a certain way to where it entices you. It's not like your regular shoot 'em up, bang 'em up, and fancy explosions type of film. I mean, yes, you do get some of that, but it still sticks out like a sore thumb because of the way it was presented. Not that I'm saying that there's nothing wrong with the action eccentric side of this series, but this one does feel a lot more grounded. It's more to the ground. It's more on the nose, sort of, if you want to put it that way. Like I said, it does focus more on the espionage type of things than anything else, and it's more character driven and more story driven than anything else. But because it was handled the way it was, made it actually intriguing and made it actually entertaining and interesting. It's just a simple espionage film that makes you think. Like, who is this? And why is this happening? And what is Ethan's plan? What is he going to do? It's just more about the story and characters than anything else. You get Reno and Jon Voight, who are both excellent, solid performances. And you also get Ving Rhames, who basically becomes a series regular in this franchise, minus the fourth one. And you also get the main driving force himself, Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise was great here. He's someone that I've liked as an actor for a while. And this was, of course, back in his heyday and before the series evolved into what it is today. So his stunts weren't as crazy and far out there as they are now. But he had a couple of good ones in this. The two that gets to me every time when I watch this, which is not often, but when I do, is the one where they break into the CIA headquarters and he's hanging upside down for like an endless amount of time. I'm like, dude, you're going to pass out. Like, nobody can take that much blood to the head. But anyway, that's all a part of you suspending your beliefs. But anyway, I thought that was pretty cool when he was trying to get that disc and trying not to let tears and sweat and whatever else touch the ground, which I thought, again, going back to those tense moments, I thought they did really well. And the bullet train scene at the end in the final act, when he finds out who the mole is and he tries to go after him, and that, bullet train is implied on how fast it's going, and they're both on top of that. I thought that was pretty cool, especially this being 1996. It has been replicated since then, but again, as far as stunts goes, this was definitely before he started turning his stunts into death-defying stunts. Not that I'm saying that that wasn't a death-defying stunt, but still, it wasn't as far out there and crazy as the stuff he does now. But it was good. It was actually pretty entertaining. It was pretty cool. And I thought the setup and the payoff was done pretty well, especially leading up to that scene. Again, it's like I said, it's like one of those mysteries that got resolved in a very cool way. But as far as that bullet train scene goes, I thought it was shot very well. A lot of people, I could see why some people would say that that's the most cheesiest scene that they've ever seen. But I thought it was actually done pretty well, especially for a 90s film. And to be honest, I know I touched on the action just a little bit, but you don't get much action here, and that was the most action-eccentric scene in this film. That being said, as I said before, this one really stands out like a sore thumb, like the cousin twice removed because of that reason alone, as I dive into my negatives. And this is really kind of a soft negative. I wasn't quite sure if I wanted to just do a mix in this, because I did enjoy this film, but I really got to be true to myself. This is not one of those that I go revisit that much. Because the rest of these has become so well known as being action eccentric, this one just sort of got tainted for some people, and unfortunately it did taint it for me just a little bit. It's one of those that I don't really go back to see, especially when I'm binge watching these. This is just not one of those that I go back to often. But it is one that I pop in every now and then, but just not as much as the others. However, I can appreciate what they did for this. It's just really not my thing, knowing how the series had turned out. since 1996. But I guess you could say that Mission Impossible 1 is just something that I appreciate more than I enjoy, if that makes sense. It's an acquired taste. If you're somebody that likes just plain old espionage type drama, thrill rides, then you'll like this one. You'll definitely like this one. It's fine. Like I said, it's not one of those that I go back to revisit much or often, but it's got its moments. It's good enough to stream. So Mission Impossible, what was your thoughts on this? Are you a fan of this entry? Are you a fan of that more grounded, more to the ground espionage type of feel that this film brought out? Is this more your style? Is this more your speed? Or do you like the later films to where they turned into this big action extravaganza party? Leave me a comment down below and give me your thoughts. Thank you so much, guys, for clicking here and watching this. I really do appreciate it. And your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to like, subscribe, comment, and share. Make sure to click that bell icon so you don't miss a thing if you like what you see. And I will see you on the next one. Peace.